Today we're going to be using drafting views to create some scale drawings of our storm drain in Revit. It's going to be in plan and elevation. So this is a little bit different than how we normally use Revit. Normally we would actually model things in 3D, but in this case we're just practicing our 2D skills. So you will only be working in a drafting view, which is like a 2D drawing. So this is our first time opening up Revit. When you go to the Google Classroom assignment, download this stormdrain.rvt file. .rvt is a normal Revit file. The only benefit to this over the standard file that your computer makes when it opens Revit is that this one has our title block already loaded in. So let's go to Revit. So it should be Revit 2024. And when you open it up, it should look like this. It automatically starts you on a floor plan, but we're going to create a new kind of view called a drafting view. So I'm going to go over on the very top to view, and then over here to drafting view. And here I'm going to call my drafting view storm drain. And then over here for the scale, for now, I'm going to leave it at, I'm going to make it 1 inch equals 1 foot. We may need to change that later, but that's where I'm going to leave it for right now until we figure out what size will fit on our sheet. And then I'm going to hit OK. So now you'll see that a new page has opened, and it's essentially a big blank sheet of paper. We're going to use annotations. So annotations are things like lines and text, things that are not real model elements to create our drawing. So to start out with, I'm going to go over to the Architecture tab up here. I'm going to click on Reference Plane. You can also get that by just typing in RP on your keyboard. That brings up, you see my cursor has changed, so I'm going to click, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to type in 6 feet. Actually, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to come down, bring it a ways down, and click. Okay, the first thing I want to do is set up some reference planes for myself so that I can draw my storm drain. So looking at my paper, I'm first going to put in all my horizontal measurements in the plan. So the first one I have looks like it is 116 inches over. So I'm going to type in CO for copy, click, move my mouse over without clicking, and then type in 116, and then shift to get the quotation marks for inches, and then hit enter. Now it looks like I also measurement back 57 inches. So I'm going to come back this way and type in 57 inches, hit enter. Okay, I'm going to keep going across. So here, I'm going to look first at the storm drain itself. So this was kind of where the planter box was. Now I'm going to put in where the storm drain is. So I type in CO for copy, click on it, and it looks like I'm coming over 69.5 inches. So 69, and I can do space 1/2 inches and hit enter. And that's there. And then what else do we have? Then we have, it looks like 73 inches from there. So CO, bring that over 73 inches. Okay, those are my first horizontal measurements. I'm going to get in there. We'll add more detail as we go. Next, I want to kind of put in the edge of the curb and come back for my vertical measurements. So I'm going to type in RP for reference plane, click, click again. And here, it looks like the curb itself is 7 inches. So I'm going to do CO for copy. So select it, CO, click it, come up, type in 8, shift for inches, and hit enter. That's my curb. I also have a measurement for where there's a little change in there in the storm drain. So I'm going to copy this over. So this looks like it comes up 8.5 inches, so 8.5 inches. So you can see that's very close to the last mark. And then we have from that point another 33 inches. So I'm going to copy this, CO, bringing this up 33 inches. Okay, so now I'm starting to give myself the lines I need in order to draw this. I'm going to add one more, which is the edge of the planter box, and also the edge of the sidewalk thing. So for the edge of the planter box, that looks like it's from the 7-inch mark. So it's selecting this one. I'm going to copy that, CO. I'm going to copy that 49 inches. Okay. And then the last one is from my 33-inch mark. So this was my 8.5. This is my 33, I think. We're going to double check it. If I click on DI for dimension, I can click on a line, click on the next line, that I wanted to mention. Try it again, DI. So this, it's really hard to read this. This is 2 feet 9 inches, so that's my 33 line, so I'm all good there. So if I take my 33 line, it looks like that's another 60 inches over. So I'm going to copy this up 60 inches. Okay, let's start actually defining what each piece is. So I know from here to here, this is all the planter box. So my actual storm drain starts here. So I'm not going to draw the planter box, I'm going to start here instead. So I want to first draw some lines. I know that the darkest line is going to be here along the edge because that's like an actual change in elevation. So I'm going to type in DL for detail line. I can also find that if I go up to the tabs, go to the annotate tab, click on detail line. That brings up the same thing. When I click on my detail line, I want to make sure I have this line where it says draw selected, and over here under line style, I'm going to change it to medium lines, and that's going to be for my curve. So then I'm going to draw all the way across here, from here to my very last horizontal. You'll notice right now all the lines look the same. If I type in TL into my computer, it should make some difference. Still hard to see. Let's see if we change our scale here. So what if I change it to 1 inch equals 1 foot? Now we're starting to be able to read a little better. Let's even bring it up to 1/2 inch equals 1 foot. Okay, then we're starting to be able to see a little bit. So if I do TL, okay, there we go. So now you can see that like this line has more thickness than a standard line. So I went and put that in. Now I'm going to do another line for the edge of the curb. So we said this is where the planter box is. I'm actually going to change this to a wide line. So I'm going to select it and change it over here to wide lines. That's my thickest line. I want the next lines to be medium lines. So I'm going to come over here to detail line again. Make sure it's medium line is selected, and then I'm going to draw in this 7-inch curve all the way to here, and I'm going to let it come down to here. So I'm just clicking to get those. Okay, from here, I know that I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click up to this mark, which is my 33-inch line. Hang on, is that right? Yeah. So I'm clicking here, and then I'm coming this way all the way to the 69.5 inches. So I'm pretty sure that's this line. And then I'm coming to this line. When I get here, I'm going to come over 3 inches. I'm going to bring my line this way, and I'm going to type in 3 inches and hit enter, and that'll make that stick. And then I'm going to come all the way down to here. Okay, so now we have kind of the beginning of where our storm drain is. I want to continue the curve here, so I'm going to do DL for detail line. And again, at that 7-inch mark, I'm going to bring this over. You'll notice there's a little difference between these two. There was kind of like a gap of like junky stuff in there, so that's what that is. All right, so that's there. So now we have like the very first lines in. I want to also put in my planter box. So my planter box was over this way, so I'm going to type in DL again. And here I'm going to give myself a line all the way up to here. And then bring this over to here and back down. So that's kind of where the tree was. And then over here, we had kind of an additional piece. So I'm going to bring this line from here. And then it looks like we came over 50 inches. So I don't think I put a line in for that. So I'm just going to type in 50 inches. And that brings me to that point. And then we have a diagonal, but we have like a whole bunch of little measurements to put in to get there. So for now, I'm just going to leave that there. So what is this 75 inches? So the 75 inches here is to the end of where that wants to go, and then it looks like we had another 25 inches up and 108 inches. So I know that this is where it's like a little bit dodgy because we didn't get angles. But I know this wants to be 108 inches. So I'm going to come kind of down this way and type in 108 inches. And that's going to bring us all the way down to there. Then over here, I know that I want to go over the 75 inches. So I'm going to type in DL. So from this corner, it should be 75 inches. So I'm typing 75 inches. Okay, so we want that line to be able to meet us over there somehow. Over here, it looks like it was 25 inches. So I'm going to type in 25 inches. And then this should only be 108, but that doesn't look like it's going to meet. Let's try 108 inches. Let's see how far we get. Oh no, that was pretty good. Let's check. So I'm going to DI for a dimension. And then I'm going to hit tab to get the corner of that, tab to get the corner of that, and that's 10 feet. So let's see, how many feet is 10 feet? How many inches is 10 feet? So I'm going to bring up my calculator just to check. So I know it's 12 inches times 10 feet is 120. So that line's a little bit bigger. So that means that this angle is probably off. It's probably less angle than I have it drawn. And I can look back at my image to kind of get a better idea of that. So if I'm going to go back to Google Classroom, Architecture 3, and then I think in the sketchbook, no, not that one. In the storm drain sketchbook, we had images, so I can come back and kind of look at this overall piece to see what's going on. Yeah, so it looks like that 25 inches actually here, and it should be pretty straight back, so that might fix our problem. So I'm going to come back to Revit. I'm going to delete that line. So I'm going to start here, come out to the line I already made, and come up 25 inches. And I'm hoping that between there and there is 9'6", which is much closer to our 108. Okay, so here is our drawing. What we are still missing is the representation of the pole that goes up, and we're also missing the storm drain itself. So let's do the storm drain itself first. So we determined where the center of it was, so I'm going to copy over some reference planes to get it. So I'm going to select this reference plane, type in CO, and then copy, click on it, bring it down 21 inches. And then the side one, I'm going to bring over CO, and that we determined was 34.5 inches. So 34.5 inches over. Okay, so that's the center of my circle. I then am going to go type in DL for detail line again. And this I'm going to do in a light line. So I'm going to go to thin lines. And I'm going to grab the circle drawing, which is right here. So I'm going to start at the middle and then come out this way. Now we have the diameter. We didn't get the radius. So the diameter is going to be 2 times the radius. So if my diameter is 21 inches, then my radius is going to be half of that. So half of 20. So the diameter is 21. So half of 20 would be 10. So this is going to be 10.5 inches. So I'm going to type in 10.5 inches, hit enter. And that's the outside circle. Then the inside circle is 19 inches. So again, I'm going to click in the middle. I know that half of 18 is 9. So this is going to be 9.5 inches. So I'm going to do 9.5 inches, hit enter. And so now that gives me a storm drain. Okay, let's come over here, and then we're also going to put in our pole that's going up. So it looks like the pole we measured is 29 inches over from here. So I'm going to copy this, type in CO, and bring over my reference line, 29 inches, hit enter. So that's kind of the outside of that square. And then it looks like the square is 12 inches from the curve based on this drawing. So let's see how that works. So if the curve is here, we're going to bring this up 12 inches. And that is very close to that line. So let me undo that so we can tell which one it is. So I'm going to try that one more time. So I'm bringing this up 12 inches. Okay, so it's the lower of those two lines. So the square should start here, and we have it marked as being an 11-inch square. So I'm going ahead. This one I'm actually going to do First I'll do a detail line, and then I'm going to show you how to do a filled region. So here I'm going to grab the detail line. Let's make this one medium. I'm going to start here, come over 11 inches. Then I'm going to come up 11 inches, over, and down. So that's where our pole is. If I come back to our image for a second, you'll notice that there's a circle in the middle of this thing. So we want to be able to represent that circle and show it as a cut because we're actually cutting through that. So I'm going to come back over here, and I first want to find the midpoint of this. I'm going to do RP for reference plane, and then if I just hover near the middle, the triangle comes up. So that'll give me the center of that. And then I'm going to do something called a detailed region. So I'm going to come over here to region, or filled region. I'm going to grab the circle. I'm going to click on the middle of here. and I'm going to bring it out to about there to represent that pole. I want to change this to be a wide line because it's something we're cutting through. And then the other thing I want to change is right here, it's a diagonal filled crosshatch. I can pick something else. For now, I'm going to do solid black, or I don't know, it's kind of heavy. Maybe we'll leave it as diagonal crosshatch and click check mark. And so then that kind of checks it in. I'd rather it be something a little denser. So I'm going to go to here to edit type, duplicate. I'm going to call this pole, hit OK. And then over here, I can change my patterns where it says foreground fill pattern. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to change it to something, what else can I change it to? I'm going to do crosshatch small and hit OK, and then hit OK again. And that just makes it something a little different. Okay, so there I have my pole in. Here I have in my storm drain. And then this is my planting box. I'm trying to remember why I thought it was important to have this extra little piece here. I feel like something changed there. So let's see if I can see it in the picture. Oh, there's just another line in the sidewalk. So over here, if I do DL, I'm going to grab a thin line for this and come from here to here. So that's just like a little another crack in the sidewalk. And if you look over here, yeah, and then this line should also continue, so I can do that as a crack in the sidewalk. Okay, so this area, though, I want to have a hatch because I want to represent that there's a tree there. And I should also really put in like the trunk of the tree so we can show it's a pretty small tree, but we can show that. So for that, I'm going to again go to annotate, filled region. I'm going to grab this rectangle, make sure it's still in thin lines. I'm going to click here and click there. And then here for this, I'm going to put in as wood 1 and hit a check mark. And now we can see that that's all like the planter area. And then I said we want to represent the tree. We didn't get an exact location for it, so I'm just going to approximate it. So I'm going to do a filled region. This one, I'm going to make a wide line. Grab my circle again, and this one maybe I will fill in with solid black. I just want to kind of estimate. I'm going to say it's about there. Maybe it's a 2-inch diameter. Hit the check mark. And so that's representing my tree there. Okay, so now I have my whole plant set up. I want to make sure I also am going to do the elevation. So the nice thing about plan and elevation is that we can use the lines from the plan to do our elevation. We don't need a whole lot of lines for this. So I'm going to bring down this one and this one, the two edges of the storm drain. And then I'm going to bring over this one. These are just like kind of our end pieces so we know where it's ending. Okay, I'm going to give myself a wide line to start. So I'm going to type in DL, change the line style to wide line, and bring this across. And then hit enter, hit escape to enter that. And then I'm going to bring this down. So the first thing comes down 4.5 inches. So I'm going to grab the DL, make this a medium line. I'm going to come here, retrace that, come down from here 4.5 inches, 4.5 inches. And then I'm going to come over to here and then bring that up. I know that the middle of this is going to dip a little bit, so I'm going to come to the middle here, give myself a line, and make this 12 inches, and then I want the ground to kind of meet that. I also know that from here it's 7.5 inches, so I'm going to click on here, type in 7.5 inches, bring that down and over, and then here's the thing down to 7.5 inches and over. So it's representing my curve, and then right here we want to have curve that represents that like this is the storm drain. So I'm going to click here on start end radius arc. I'm going to click here and then I forget. I think I do the two ends and then the middle. Yep. So I'm going to click on this end, click on that end, and then click on this end. And I'm going to delete that line. So now I kind of have my elevation here. Now that I have the overall dimensions of this, I want to place it onto a piece of paper. So I'm going to save if you haven't saved yet. So now I'm going to go over to view and do a new drafting view. Or sorry, cancel that. Go to view, make a new sheet. And you want to select BDS 11x17 vertical and hit OK. I then am going to come over to my project browser. I'm going to click plus on drafting views and I drag my storm drain onto here. So let's see how that size looks. So the size looks pretty good. You'll notice that it goes over the area on here, and I think I might actually want this bigger to draw on. Like maybe we don't need the whole tree pit in here. So I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to reveal hidden elements. No, we don't need that. On a drafting view, I'm not sure if I can put yeah, so because this is a drafting view, I can't like hide, I can't hide the outside of it. So wait, let me make sure that's true. Yeah, so if this were a normal view, I could kind of crop it down, but because it's a drafting view, I can't crop it down. So we're going to use a filled region to fake it. So first thing I want to do is bring up the scale of this. I'm going to select my view and then go over here to scale. And I'm going to try bringing it to 1 inch equals 1 foot and see how much of the storm drain I can get on there. I think that's not quite as much as we want. We want a little bit more. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to change it to 3/4 inch equals 1 foot. Okay, so now we can see like the whole storm drain, and then we can get in kind of that corner piece in case anyone wants to use that. And then you can do this. If you know that you are only going to use like the immediate area around the storm drain, you could make the scale bigger. But for me, I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to keep that much of it in there. I now am going to kind of block out the rest of this. So I'm going to double click on here. I'm going to make another filled region. So I'm going to go to annotate, filled region. And here I'm going to make this into an invisible line. And I'm first going to kind of draw a little rectangle around the part I want to keep. So I'm going to keep this much of it. And then draw another rectangle that encompasses all of that. Once I have that on there, I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to go to edit type, duplicate, make it solid white, hit OK. And here I'm going to change my color to white and hit OK. And then hit OK again and hit my green check mark to finish that. Here I'm going to go to edit type again, so let's see what happened here. It should be masking. So something's not working right because that should have masked out all of that. So I'm going to go back to edit type. I'm going to make the background fill color as well white. Not that that should make a difference. It says masking. I'm going to hit OK again. I'm going to right click and check the order. So I'm going to hit bring to front. And that finally did it, the bringing to front. So now that's all in front of there. Okay, so you'll notice that you still see the reference planes, but those will actually go away when you print. Okay, so I'm going to double click outside of this. I want to drag this, click and drag it over to here where it says storm drain because that gives me the scale. If I then click on this box, I can move that over. Over here under project name, I'm going to change it to storm drain design, or if you have a specific name for yours, you can put it in. Under author, you're going to put in your name. And then this sheet is going to be plan and elevation. And the date here is going to be 9/27/2024. The sheet number, mine's A1. I want this to be A100. If yours can have something different, you can change it to that. Okay, the last thing we can do in here is add some dimensions. So if I double click, I'm going to go back to my annotate tab, and here I can select align dimensions up here. I can also type in DI. So with dimensions, I can add in some of the key dimensions we'll want to know. So I'm going to add in like the curve. I'm going to add in the overall of this. I can also kind of show the diameter of the circle might be helpful. So I could kind of tab to that. Or actually so that would be under annotate. They have angular dimension. No, I don't know an angular dimension. Sorry about that. Or annotate linear. There we go. Diameter. So I could get the diameter of this circle and kind of put that in so people know what that is. Or if you're using this area, you might want to dimension that too. So I'm going to dimension all the way to here. And I'm going to dimension over here as well. So that just gives some of like the key dimensions for our piece so that we know what they are. And then same thing here. I'm going to do kind of the height there. And then the height at this dip. I already have this dimension there, so I don't really need that to move. Finally, I'm going to add some text so I can label each of these. So I'm going to grab this text box, and I can put right here, and I can call this plant. It should be 1/4 area, and then I can copy this down to here, and I can type on this one elevation. I can click the little bubbles and move them to make it bigger. And that is everything. So I'm going to double click outside to then print this. I'm going to go up to here, File, Print, PDF. And then on here, I'm going to do print a selected sheet. So the sheet is in session. This has all changed in the new version of Revit. So give me a little bit of patience if I do this incorrectly. Okay, so sheet size should be 11 by 17. So that's ANSI B 11 by 17. Zoom 100% of size. You don't want your scale getting messed up. We have a portrait orientation here. We are fine with it being color. Here we want to hide reference view. I always click also hide on reference view planes. So check hide ref work planes, hide on reference view planes. Everything else should be fine. So then I'm going to hit export. Oh, I have to select the view. I guess I've got the button here. Okay, so then I click there and then click sheet 100 plan elevation, select, and then I can hit export. And I'm not going to save this for the future. So I'm going to give my computer a minute. Now the question is, where did it save it? Because I wasn't paying that much attention. Where did it save? So it should be under. Okay, we're going to do it this way instead, because I don't know where that just saved. So we're going to go to File, Print, Adobe PDF as your printer, or your computer might have something slightly different. Selected view sheet, you're going to select that sheet. Under Setup, you're going to change it to Portrait 11 by 17 or Tabloid. Zoom 100% of size, hide reference planes, hide and reference view things. Zoom 100% of size. All that other stuff looks good, so hit OK. Hit OK again, and then you're going to hit Continue. And then here I can see where it's actually saving. So I want to save this to Downloads. And it already has the name in for me, so I hit Save. It's going to take a minute. And then I can see that drawing here, and I can do Control minus to kind of see my completed drawing. So then we can print these out, and we can work on them. We can also, if you don't want to work by hand, you can also bring this into Illustrator, and you can work on it in Illustrator.